Diseases of attitude. There's a lot of things that can wreck your chances to do well. We live in a rather dangerous world, so you got to be not only wise, you got to be careful. Now, attitude diseases are just as bad as physical diseases, right? High blood pressure, heart trouble. I mean, a lot of things lace your chances to do well. So you've got to be careful. And attitude diseases are deadly. I mean, they'll destroy all the good things you start. So we'll go through those attitude diseases, how to spot them, how to look for them, what they are, and the cure. And I'm a pro on these because I've had them all, so I can give you excellent advice on these. Now, the last subject we're going to consider tonight is called the day that turns your life around. And under this subject, we're going to talk about the emotions that can change your life. Human beings are emotional creatures, and emotions are powerful for life change. Now, of course, emotions are so powerful they can go either way on you. Emotions can either build or destroy. So you really have to employ emotions properly. We call civilization the intelligent management of human emotions. If you can intelligently apply your emotions in the right direction, no telling what can happen. Could turn your life around one day would be sufficient. So we'll talk about those. Okay. Now that's a lot to cover in one evening, but we'll keep at it here and see if we can't get it all done. I'd like to have you now jot down the theme of the seminar. Every seminar should have a theme, I guess. We've got one. It's on some of our literature if you happen to notice it, but if you didn't, for your notes, here it is. The theme of the seminar. That's the theme of our seminar tonight. The major key to your better future is you. And I'd like to have you underline two words just to give it some added punch. Underline the word major and the word you, so that it reads, the major key to your better future is you. Now, my first suggestion is transfer this to a card or something where you can put it up, where you can see it every day. Preferably put it up where you can see it at the beginning of the day, before you go off to put the day together. This is a good phrase just to glance at, to keep in mind as you're putting the day together. It's called the silent seminar. If you'll just let this talk to you during the day, I found it to be tremendously helpful. The major key to your better future is you. For a big share of my life now, I didn't have this one quite figured out. Among a lot of things I didn't have quite figured out. Many things used to puzzle me back in those early days. I used to wonder why two people could work for the same company, one make twice as much money. Now see, that used to puzzle me. And maybe they were the same age, graduated from the same school, live in the same community, work for the same company, with the same products and the same services. They've got the same traffic, the same problems, and one makes $1,000 a month, the other one makes $2,000 a month. Now that was my puzzling question. Why would this long list be the same and the money twice as much?
Perhaps there's another way that you could look at the world and another way that you could act in the world. So what it would reflect back to you would be much better than what it reflects back to you now. And then the second part of that is, well, imagine that many people did that, because we've done a lot as human beings. We've done a lot of remarkable things. And I've told you already, I think before, that today, for example, about 250,000 people will be lifted out of abject poverty, and about 300,000 people attached to the electrical power grid. We're lifting people out of poverty collectively at a faster rate that's ever occurred in the history of humankind by a huge margin. And that's been going on unbelievably quickly since the year 2000. The UN had planned to have poverty between 2000 and 2015, and it was accomplished by 2013. So there's inequality developing in many places, and you hear lots of political agitation about that. But overall, the tide is lifting everyone up, and that's a great thing. And we have no idea how fast we can multiply that if people got their act together and really aimed at it. Because, you know, my experience is with people that we're probably running at about 51% of our capacity. I mean, you can think about this yourselves. I often ask undergraduates how many hours a day you waste, or how many hours a week you waste. And the classic answer is something like 4 to 6 hours a day. You know, inefficient studying, watching things on YouTube that not only do you not want to watch, that you don't even care about, that make you feel horrible about watching after you're done. That's probably 4 hours right there. You know, you think, well, that's 25 hours a week. It's 100 hours a month. That's 2.5 full work weeks. It's half a year of work weeks per year. And if your time is worth $20 an hour, which is a radical underestimate, it's probably more like 50 if you think about it in terms of deferred wages. If you're wasting 20 hours a week, you're wasting $50,000 a year. And you are doing that right now. And it's because you're young, wasting $50,000 a year is a way bigger catastrophe than it would be for me to waste it, because I'm not going to last nearly as long. And so if your life isn't everything it could be, you could ask yourself, well, what would happen if you just stopped wasting the opportunities that are in front of you? You'd be who knows how much more efficient, 10 times more efficient, 20 times more efficient. That's the Pareto distribution. You have no idea how efficient people get. It's off the charts. Well, and if we all got our act together collectively and stopped making things worse, because that's another thing people do all the time, not only do they not do what they should to make things better, they actively attempt to make things worse because they're spiteful or resentful or arrogant or deceitful or homicidal or genocidal or all of those things all bundled together in an absolutely pathological package. If people stopped really trying just to make things worse, we have no idea how much better they would get just because of that. So there's this weird dynamic that's part of the existential system of ideas between human vulnerability, social judgment, both of which are major causes of suffering, and the failure of individuals to adopt the responsibility that they know they should adopt. And that's the thing that's interesting too, is that, and like another thing I've often asked my undergraduate classes is, you know, there's this idea that people have a conscience. And you know what the conscience is. It's this feeling or voice you have in your head just before you do something that you know is stupid, telling you that probably you shouldn't do that stupid thing.
Right, but I want you to do me a favor, like don't let life do you like that. Like don't let life put you in a circumstance or a situation where you stop dreaming. Like don't let life put you in a situation where you are helping somebody else make their dreams become a reality that you forgot you have your own. Like don't do that. Don't get so caught up giving some job 30, 40, 50, 60 hours of your day that you don't have any time left for yourself. And so do me a favor, I don't want reality right now. I'm not interested in how much your student loans are. I'm not interested. Because your student loans are sucking your dream. I'm not interested right now. And I got a divorce and right now I just can't. I'm not interested. Eric, I lost a child and you don't know what it's like to. I'm not interested in your reality right now. I want you to get back to your dreams. I want you to get back to your goals, because no matter what has happened in life, you've got another 30 years, another 40 years, another 50 years. Like you can't get stuck on, like you can't let that thing that devastated you in 1989, the thing that devastated you in 1996, 2001, like you can't wake up every day to 2001. 2001 was a tragedy, yes it was, but you can't stay there. Look, I want you to look at your goals, and I want you to ask yourself this question. Do you know what it takes to make that happen? Literally, like, because this is all it's going to take. 3 things, it's all it's going to take. Do you know what it takes? And you guys have an advantage because you've been at this conference, I think, 3 days. You got a whole bunch of information. Look, the only thing it takes to go from where I went to, a homeless, high school dropout, sleeping in abandoned buildings, eating out of trash cans, I went from being a high school dropout, getting a GED, to having a PhD. Listen to me. The only thing it takes is knowing what it takes. So one day I woke up and was like, okay, E, stop talking about what you don't have. You need to know what you don't know so you can get to where you're trying to get to. So being successful is not who you are, it's what you know. So I need to get a different relationship to knowledge. So I'm hyped, but I did not come here just so you can get pumped up or get hyped. You have been given information. You are this close to making every dream you wrote down happen. Why? Because you have been taught by the best of the best. You have been taught by the best of the best. You've been taught by people who've been doing this for years. You've been taught by people who love you and care for you. People who are giving you information that you're not going to get randomly on your own. And so you are this close to your dreams and goals. So I have to ask you the question. You have the information. Now what are you going to do with it?
Things that impress you, a poem that impresses you. When you attend a class, some of the ideas that impressed you, jot them down. You read something in a magazine, right? Some ideas, take those out, put them in your journal.
That we can learn in any direction. Nature has to make a choice with any species. Option number 1, pre-program everything. Think of a horse. When a horse is born, it comes out, it can already run, jump, take care of itself.
Bro, I gotta answer the guy when it comes to Denzel. I'm gonna have to answer the guy. Because there's some stuff that I don't normally do, but if Denzel doing it, I'm doing it. I'm like, God, I'm sorry, but Denzel was at doing it.
Keep a good journal the rest of your life. This will serve you well. So I want the same thing to happen to you. Value capture that you can resort to later. Go back over it, review it, and let it become valuable to you. So that's my first subject, personal development. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Develop the skills. Learn the lessons. Take the classes. Absorb all that is being taught to you these days. And then later on, of course, you can sort it out, what's valuable to you and how to refine it for your business and for your life and for your future. The main thing is to get it and start this process of personal change, personal development. And let me say it one more time. If you will change, everything will change. You'll never be the same.
Be built for maximum flexibility. Be able to adapt to your environment. A horse is a horse no matter where you put it. But a human, depending on when and where it's born, depending on what it allocates its resources to, its time and attention, it can turn into a basketball player, a neurophysicist, a parent, a coach, a hairstylist. You literally get to choose. You get to decide what it is that you want to be good at. And I want you to think about the first time that you picked up a pair of scissors.
You'll keep growing. As you look back on a few months, look back on a few years, you won't believe the progress you can make. Economically, your relationship with your family, your friends, telling you that whole process of committing yourself for personal change, personal value, can really make your life unique and worthwhile. Now let's cover the second step, the setting goals. We need to take a look into the future. There are 4 things to consider in terms of attitude. One is how you feel about the past. Best advice I can give you on that is treat the past as a school. Let it teach you the mistakes you've made, the things that went wrong, the things that didn't work. Don't use the past as a burden to carry, and don't use the past as a club to beat yourself to death. Past losses, past failures, past mistakes. But let the past be a school. Tough school maybe. We've all been through some tough stuff. So if you feel good about the past, draw from it for experience and let it teach you.
You didn't know what you were doing. It didn't feel like it was an extension of your hand. But now, when you step into that role, when you show up, the way that everything feels, the way that you set it around your station, it's all like it was meant to be. It flows. You know right where things are, how to cut somebody's hair, depending on the texture of the hair, the length, the quality, the age of the person, what they've done to it. You know it all. You know how to mix colors. All of that stuff is from training. But the irony is people don't stop and think about, hey, I got this far in this thing simply by allocating the time and the energy. Where else could I go? Could I pivot? And the answer to that question is yes. The human animal is designed to adapt. That is literally what we are sculpted to do. For me, the piece of advice that I always give to somebody, whether it's an entrepreneur or somebody who wants to be the greatest parent of all time, what is your goal?
Okay? Stop like trying to tell people you read 6 books and you ain't done nothing with them. I'm just believing religious people kill me. I read the whole Bible and ain't nothing changed. You the same person. But it's like you get brownie points for reading the whole Bible. Like I go to church every Sabbath and you get brownie points for that? Like, what do you get for that? It's about change, right? So I don't want you to read the Bible. I just want you to find 3 scriptures this year that you can read and do them. Read 4 books and do what they tell you to do. Matter of fact, read 1 book and do what the book tell you to do. Like, for real, just read 1 chapter and put the book down. Do what the chapter tell you to do. I'm just being real. What does it benefit you to read the whole book and you're not using it? All right, so this is the year of execution. Like we're gonna execute in small ways and those executions gonna turn into something, right? So I heard something that revolutionized my life. All right, I'm just gonna show you. Today is gonna be nothing but me just going 1 through 3 on you. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, helping you.
You've got to start with your goal. Everything works backwards from that. For me, I wanted to get rich. And the irony is, when I started on my entrepreneurial journey, I was literally saying that to people. I want to get rich. I just want to make a bunch of money. And so I started as a copywriter in a technology company because I'd failed to make it in film school. I actually ended up doing horrifically. And at the end of film school, I felt broken, embarrassed, lost. I had no idea where I was going. But I started teaching filmmaking. And as I was teaching that class, I realized, wow, I don't know enough to teach these students. I need to research at night and practice to be able to come in and present this material.
It's very important for you to believe that you are the one to make this happen. I remember this high school teacher, Mr. Leroy Washington, at the end of school one June, it was just a few days before we were supposed to leave. And I just got my report card. And it indicated that I'd failed history and I'd failed English and I would have to go to summer school. And I was feeling within myself that I was a failure, that I'm slower than most people in getting paperwork. And I was feeling down on myself and very negative. And Mr. Washington was giving a speech to the graduating seniors, and I was in 11th grade. And even though I wasn't supposed to be in there, I went in there because the speech he was giving, that speech was for me. And as he talked, my heart began to beat fast. Tears began to run down my eyes, and I was in the back just listening to him because he said, and he was a very dramatic man. I still talk to him to this day. He said, as graduating seniors of Booker T. Washington High School, I want you to know that you're blessed and highly favored, and that as you go toward the future, begin to know that you have greatness within you.
So I heard Denzel Washington say he had a coach. I was like, what? I rewind. I'm like, okay, I'm hearing things. So I went back and was like, Denzel Washington got an acting coach. I was like, why would Denzel need an acting coach? He Denzel. All right, but I said to myself, okay, I respect Denzel. Listen to me, I don't do movies. Anything Denzel come out with, I'm going to the movies. I don't care what it is. Denzel come out with it, I don't even care if it makes sense or not. It's Denzel, I'm going to see it. I ain't Philadelphia, I don't know nothing about that. I'm like, but Denzel starting in it. Training Day, I sat through Training Day and it was like a crazy feeling like, yo, I ain't really getting this killing and the stupid stuff that they doing, but it's Denzel.
And if just one of you here begin to envision yourselves as being blessed and highly favored to reach your goals, if just one of you capture the essence of what that means, that you have greatness within you and a responsibility to manifest that greatness, that you can make your parents proud, you can make your school proud, you can touch millions of people's lives, and the world will never be the same again because you came this way. And the students gave him a rousing standing ovation. And as he left the auditorium, I ran down the steps and I caught him in the parking lot. I said, Mr. Washington? He said, yes. I said, do you remember me, sir? He said, no. I said, my name is Leslie Brown. My mother, she works in the cafeteria here. I'm one of the twins, Leslie and Wesley. I said, Mr. Washington, but you know, I got these big dreams. You know, I like talking to people. I love people. I said, I want to work with people, and I got this dream of buying my mama a home. Could I do that, Mr. Washington? He said, it's possible, Mr. Brown.
We haven't been taught to do that. That's the problem. We have this weird approach. We have this weird view of negative emotions. Like some of us think, oh, positive all the time. That leads to delusion.
Falling down doesn't mean that you're done. Falling down doesn't mean that it's over. Falling down doesn't mean that you're dead. Falling down is a reckoning.
Where you step up in a situation and you lead and you do the right thing and you begin to realize you're different, you're unique, you're special. Your self-worth begins to change and you believe over the time in your life.
You're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing and you're pushing and you're doing everything right. You're tired, you're exhausted, and ain't nothing happening. Yet that word is what you're waiting for yet. It's no different because we've messed up because you fell off the wagon, you've been on alcohol and drugs, and you gave up on life, you dropped out, or you've been to jail 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. And you really want your dream to happen and you're putting in your work and nothing's happening yet.
Some of us get so absorbed in our negative emotions that they, in some ways, exonerate us from making progress. That's a bad idea too. What we need to do is we need to process our negative emotions in a systematic way. And I think there's a good way to do that. What we need to do is we need to think about our regrets. And when we think about our regrets, the evidence is pretty clear that they can help us make better decisions, solve problems faster, be better strategists, find greater meaning in our life. What I had this giant database of regrets, and I would look on my computer screen and see them listed there. And you know what? It wasn't that much of a downer because I felt like people were trying to make sense of it.
an opportunity, something that is given to all of us, something to help us to build up, that will give us ultimate satisfaction and knowing that we're not done yet. We are all in this situation together. Why do we fall? It must humble us. Sometimes your worst days can be your best days. It's all about how you put it together. You have to be man enough or woman enough to save yourself. Enough with being afraid.
There's some interesting research on this. One of the things that we think about disclosure of our vulnerabilities and our setbacks and so forth is that people will like us less. And in fact, they actually like us more when we do that. And so I actually had a lot of respect for people willing to disclose and willing to explain. And I felt like I was actually helping them make sense of this regret. So it wasn't that much of a downer. Over and over and over again around the world, the same 4 regrets kept coming up. And I found that fascinating because there wasn't much national difference. What's more, as I said earlier, these 4 regrets are revealing, because by revealing our regrets, we are revealing what we value the most. And so to me, these 4 core regrets operate as a photographic negative of the good life. That is, if we understand what people regret the most, we actually understand what they value the most. So in a weird way, these 16,000 regrets are not a downer as much as they are a pointer to what makes life worth living.
Enough of running away. Enough from hiding from your truth. Ladies and gentlemen, this moment in your life right now does matter. Sometimes you are going to lose. Sometimes you are going to hurt. Sometimes you're going to want to quit. You must be better than that. You must be stronger than your excuses. You must be stronger than your circumstances. You must be stronger than your fears. You need a little bit of faith and understanding that you can go further in your life, but you gotta believe in it. You got to trust in it. You got to stand on it. You got to stay away from the things that's not building you up. Falling down, let it be. Falling down, it will happen. Falling down, it's necessary, but that doesn't mean that you quit.
I promise you, if you keep pushing, if you keep giving me all your effort, it will happen. It must happen. It can't do anything. But Move, you can do anything but make progress. But I want you all to understand in saying that word, that you all have to stop getting caught up in movement as progress for some of us. The action of making progress is progress. But the push itself, the fight, you get up and swing and miss, that's progress you. Get up and you run at what you want with everything you got.
I deserve to win. I deserve to be different. The next thing is this. You got to take some steps. You got to take some actions. Make some mistakes. Fall down. Allow yourself to fail. Failure is only failure if you don't learn something from it. But the younger you are and the sooner you begin to take action and allow yourself to learn and get experience, the stronger you become. And if you stack experience onto self-worth, onto self-confidence, you have a formula that is going to separate you from everybody. So what is it that you love? Is it sports? Is it music? Is it business? What are some of your gifts? Is it your ability to speak, listen, your math skills, your kindness, your humor, your beauty, your intensity, your passion?
Why does ostracization hurt emotionally? Because it's the most dangerous thing that could happen to you on the plains of the savannah. If you got ostracized, you got eaten. It was that simple. So for us, as a survival mechanism from an evolutionary psychology perspective, we've got to be able to bond and connect with other people. And once I finally realized business can try and abstract itself from that, it can try and rise above that with suits and ties and code of, the way that things are supposed to be done and acting professional. I don't act professional. Literally. And if you guys have ever been with me in a high-level business meeting, Yemeni's going to back me up. I won't say the name of the company, but one of our largest customers in their corporate headquarters, I had one of them crying because I was just being real about my story and why I'm doing this. And they were touched. And it was like, okay, now true? I have connected with this person on a real level. I'm not trying to manipulate them. I'm trying to be honest about why I'm here. I'm being honest about why I fight.
You miss that's progress. The effort of making the attempt is progress. And so guess what the goals and the dreams are in that mindset to do nothing. I'll get to it tomorrow. I'll do it the next day. I do it the day after that. We're in a mindset of quitting. And if you want to make sure you become successful, it's not real you quit. It's where you stop preparing to quit. You got to give up on saying, look, I can do that tomorrow. Look, this is my time for rest. This is my time for break. There is no quit. Guess what dreams don't stop people doing?
Your ability to learn, your ability to teach, right? Your programming skills. Maybe it's thinking creatively, thinking strategically. Maybe it's just hard work, but what are you gifted with? And begin to leverage those gifts and talents towards your goals and dreams, and you'll be much happier. And the next thing is this: dream. I want you dreaming. I want you picturing your life. I live oceanfront here, and when I was a little boy, I used to walk on this beach and say, someday we're going to live there. Someday I'm going to have that house. There was nothing in my family that told me we should live somewhere like this. That my family wasn't big dreamers. They're just good people doing good things in their life, but no one thought about owning jets or multiple homes or the beach. But I started dreaming. I started thinking big. I'm standing on the beach. My home is right up there. And this entire process started with just a thought in my mind of living here. When I was much younger, I walked on this beach with my then girlfriend, and I began to think about living here one day, and it opened a space in my mind as a young man about what would it be like to live oceanfront. I didn't know.
Now, that was weird for me in the beginning. It was weird for me to reveal so much of my truthful self because I really had to accept being rejected. I had to put myself out there in a vulnerable way because they could have laughed and been like, that's so ridiculous. What do you know about business? You're just a kid. But they don't. It's all about humans. Humans. If you are dealing with humans, don't fall prey to the structure that people try to put around it. It won't work long term. In you right now is the ember of something you don't want to admit to yourself. I promise you. And if you let me interview you long enough, I will get to that thing. And you will resist me trying to get to that thing for a very long time. First, you'll give me a bullshit answer. First, you're going to tell me that you want to be happy. That's useless. I need to know what makes you happy. I need to know how you plan to be happy, okay? When people say generically that they want to be happy, they might as well tell me that they want a hit of meth.
You have the nerve to think or to ask yourself why you're not successful, and you see it happen every day on Monday morning. Somebody's going to get up and they get a hand in their resignation going to a new job on Monday morning. Somebody going to get uplifting more than you on Monday morning. Somebody going to get up running faster than you on Monday morning. Somebody going to get up with their name higher than the draft and you on Monday morning. Somebody's going to be getting that scholarship that you could have got. That's what on Monday morning somebody's going to get up whiffling to take that test.
Perhaps you think that it's something ridiculous, or that it simply doesn't work, or doesn't contribute anything in your life. But believe me, being positive always brings multiple relevant changes in your life. How many times has it happened to you that after having bad luck, sometimes it gets worse? That happens in cases where you have misfortunes that you cannot change, or more often, because your negative acts make the situation worse. When you are predisposed to have a bad attitude towards life, you may be more likely to do better. When you are already predisposed to disliking a person, or for a job interview to go wrong, what will happen is that you put everything on your side to make it go badly for you. When you discover that the power of words is totally important in your life, you will understand that this is the key for you to start doing well. Being positive will help you in your life. And it's not something superstitious or mystical. It's real life. When you say, I want good things to happen to me, you are sending the correct information to your brain so that it does its best. Change starts from within, from how you look at life and how that affects your habits. A positive thought can always help you, even in the worst of your moments, no matter what happens to you, because positivity is strength, and that is what you need, for the reason that negativity is weakness and brings large amounts of anxiety, and believe me, that will not help you at all. Language and words when defining something or having a conversation is totally essential. The rich and people of power know this very well. That is why when it comes to communicating, they do not leave the words they choose ambiguous, since what you transmit is part of who you are. If you say that you are ugly as a joke, people will see what you say about you. If you say that you are very irresponsible, you will end up believing it, and so on, with countless examples. So, you must be careful when choosing negative words towards yourself. But it also works in exactly the same way on the other side. The key to success is to see good in everything. Despite not having a good time, choose to see the positive side of things. Did a tragedy happen to you? You could use it as one more test of life, something you could take advantage of to learn that you don't have to repeat that. Have you ended a painful relationship? Perhaps there's something better for you, someone who values you more or understands you better. Have you been fired from your job? Maybe you weren't even happy there, and it's time to finally look for your dream job. Clearly, I'm not telling you to smile 24 hours a day and sing in the morning, but trying to be more positive, more predisposed to the best things can be a great advance. Because, if you didn't know, Rome wasn't built in a day. So, to improve your life and be happy, you don't need changes at the beginning that revolutionize your life and your environment. Sometimes, with small changes, small modifications in your habits, they create the person you dream of being. And that may not be as far in the future as you think. Despite what everyone thinks, negative moments don't last as long as they seem. Sometimes it's the people who increase the pain, when they can't turn around and think positively. If you want big changes, start small. You have a whole life ahead of you and a great path. It is too early for you to give up.
Studies show that your attitude can have a greater impact on your success than your IQ. You can be extremely talented, have incredible potential, but if you don't have the right attitude, it will keep you from rising higher. We spend all kinds of time and money making sure the outside looks good. Eating right, working out, wearing the latest fashions, and that's all fine, but too often we're not spending any time on the inside. Nice clothes won't cover up a bad attitude. A pretty face, perfect makeup won't hide being bitter on the inside.
If you stay positive in a negative situation, you win. What exactly are you winning? You're winning the war against negativity. You're winning the war against despair. You're winning the war against stress. And you know, negativity, it is a sneaky little bastard. Let me tell you something. Because it sort of creeps into your life, it creeps into your mind, it creeps into your skin and into your blood pressure. And before you even realize it, you started to succumb to it. And how do you know that you are succumbing to negativity? Well, first of all, it depletes you. It has a heaviness to it. It has an intensity to it. And when you succumb to negativity, it changes your character. You snap at your kids. You snap at your teammates. You feel stuck. You feel on edge. You feel tense. And that's why I want to talk to you about the power of your attitude right now. Because your brain is a pattern recognizing machine. And when you succumb to negativity, whether you think you're doing it or not, your brain will automatically start to see more negativity and feel more negativity, which is why it's so easy to get stuck ruminating and worrying and in this sort of loop that you can't get out of. Now, why do you want to build a positive attitude as a habit right now? Well, first of all, because a positive, powerful attitude is infectious. It inspires other people. It makes you resilient, And from a mindset perspective, it will help you spot more positive things. What positive things could you spot? You can spot opportunities. You can spot solutions to the problems that you're feeling. You can spot problem-solving strategies. You can spot ways to connect. You can spot ways to be more innovative. And so positive attitude breeds more positivity. That's why I want to teach you how to do it, because it's a strategy. Did you hear that word? So a powerful, positive attitude is not only a habit I want you to develop, but it is a strategy. And you're deploying other strategies right now to make you strong and to make you safe. You're washing your hands, you're getting supplies, you're editing your news intake, you're connecting with friends. Developing the habit of a powerful attitude is a strategy. And when you practice having a powerful attitude, what happens is it becomes a habit. What's a habit? It's just a pattern that you repeat. So instead of succumbing to negativity, which can become its own habit, your powerful attitude becomes a habit. And look, I'm not talking about like saccharine, stupid, unrealistic, throw caution to the wind, let's just be positive. I'm positive I'm not going to get this. I'm positive I should go on spring break because I'm not at risk. I'm positive that I don't have to worry about that. That's not positivity, that's stupidity, okay? What I'm talking about is the kind of powerful attitude where you are able to see opportunity in any moment, where you are able to keep your wits about you in any moment, where you are able to have an attitude about what you're facing that keeps you strong and keeps you in control, that your attitude day to day is keeping you anchored. So even when the headlines come in, if you happen to see them and they wig you out and you feel yourself succumbing, you can go right back to, boom, having a powerful attitude.
A bad attitude makes you unattractive. It overrides what's on the outside. It's important to look good, to develop your skills, to get an education, but it's even more important to keep a good attitude. Nobody wants to be around a sour, critical, condescending person. Colossians 3 in the Message translation says, dress in the wardrobe God picked out for you. Kindness, compassion, and humility. As parents, sometimes we pick out clothes for our children to wear. Our Heavenly Father has picked out something for us all to wear. Kindness, being good to people, being pleasant to be around. When you're kind, you draw people to you. When you're good-natured, friendly, opportunity will come your way. People want to do business with people that they like. When we're hiring someone, their resume tells us what they can do, what their skills are, but we always meet with them to see what their attitude is. Are they positive? Are they friendly, kind, considerate? We can find someone else with the same skills. The real question is, do they have the attitude that's going to take us higher? They may be gifted, but a negative attitude will pull the team down. Your attitude is going to determine your altitude. It will determine how high or how low you go. Well, Joel, I've always been kind of negative, critical, condescending. That's just who I am. No, that's who you're choosing to be. That's not who you are. That may be how you were raised. That's what you saw growing up, but that's not how you have to stay. Try being kind, friendly, good-natured. You'll not only enjoy life more, but you'll go further. If you have a nose-high attitude, if you're positive, you see the best, you're kind to people, you have a smile, because you're nose high, you're going to continue to rise higher. You're going to see God's blessings and favor. But if you're sour, hard to get along with, you don't want to go to work, bitter over disappointments, because you have a nose down attitude, your life is going to go that direction. And sometimes we're discouraged over what we brought on ourselves. It's not the enemy, it's our attitude. The good news is, all you have to do is make an attitude adjustment. It's not complicated. You can't change other people. You can't change how you were raised. A lot in life we can't control. But one thing we can all control is our attitude. Am I going to live this day negative, sour, seeing the wrong, chip on my shoulder? Or am I going to live it in faith, positive, hopeful, seeing the best, being good to people? This is a choice that we have to make every day. If you're going to have a good attitude, you have to do it on purpose. Because there will be all kinds of negative things that try to creep in. Bitterness, discouragement, self-pity. If you're not proactive, if you don't choose the right attitude, then the wrong attitude will show up. I wonder what would happen in your life if you would make a small tweak. Instead of going to work sour, dreading the day, feeling unappreciated, you would show up with a smile, grateful to have the job, knowing that you're not working under people, you're working under God, that He's keeping the records. That's what allows God to change things. What would happen in your marriage, your relationships, if you'd make a small attitude adjustment? Instead of being contentious, hard to get along with, you'd start being friendly, loving, respectful. Instead of saying harsh, critical words, you'd start giving compliments, telling your spouse how much you love them, how blessed you are to have them in your life. Just a small adjustment, getting your attitude a little higher, watch those relationships begin to improve. Or maybe you've had bad breaks. Life hasn't treated you fair. It's easy to get sour, go around with a chip on our shoulder, focus on what's wrong. That's a nose down attitude. You're choosing the direction you're going to go. Why don't you tilt it a little nose high? Yes, it was unfair, but I know God is my vindicator. I know God is fighting my battles. God promised to pay me back double for the unfair things that have happened. You keep that up and you'll see God make up for the wrongs. Today,
it's your time. Don't put off your dream. Because one of the things that I have realized is that in this thing called life, boy, I think about Forrest Gump so often. Life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. That's all I got to say about that. I want to know what's happening internationally and what's happening nationally. Okay? We got a good message for you today that you're going to enjoy, that's going to give your life some value beyond what you think. And this is a different place. This is quite different. And I'm telling you that when you are working on some goals or have ideas and things you want to do, and there's something that's just been heavy in your heart, you've just been thinking about it, but you've convinced yourself, like I did for a period of time, which I'm going to talk to you about this, that now is not the right time. I was putting things off. I learned something. If you're going to do something, if there's something you're supposed to do, I got a message for you. If you've been procrastinating, this is going to have some value for the procrastinators. Call them up and tell them, say, hey, Mrs. Mamie Brown's baby boy is about to get loose up in here. I tell you, when I wake up in the morning, I say, all things work together for good for those who love God and for those who are called according to His purpose. And then I recited an affirmation to myself, Lord, whatever I face today, together, you and I can handle it. That's the operative statement there. Together, you and I can handle it. I can't do it by myself. Together, you and I can handle it. That's why I keep the faith, because together, you and I can handle it. That's why I'm willing to walk through the valley of the shadow of death, because together, you and I can handle old man death.